Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next edition of the Losers Lounge podcast for the 11th week in a row that we're doing a podcast here. That is a record, folks. And this is episode 108. That's how you can tell it's been a long while because, this is the last Losers Lounge podcast of 2022 because right after this, we're taking a break up until Royal Rumble season. Well, depending on what others is going on, we'll keep you guys updated. But in the meantime, folks, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome two-time Losers Lounge Member of the Year, an optimistic Hall of Famer, the heelist of Ballers. Yo, Balor.
It feels great to be back, and wow, is this really it? 11 in a row? Wow.
11th week in a row, yep.
Holy heck, man. It's been a wild ride. It really has been. 11 in a row. That's a record there.
Yep.
No joke, that's a legit record for us.
Our prior record was 8 in a row.
Yep, we've shattered that.
That was in 2018 when WWE had the Super Showdown, the SmackDown 1000, the Evolution, the Crown Jewel, the War Games, and Survivor Series.
Yep.
And this time, well, it was because there were pay-per-views all over the place throughout the last few months, as I had posted several months ago. The fall days heading into the winter is going to be absolutely insane because it all started with Extreme Rules, then there was Halloween Havoc, and then there was Crown Jewel, and then there was AEW Full Gear, then there was Survivor Series War Games, and now NXT Deadline.
Yes, sir.
All of that within the span of the last 11 weeks.
Wow.
We've seen a lot of crazy stuff. It all started with Bray Wyatt coming back.
Yes, sir.
And ends with NXT Deadline, which, folks, this is our review of NXT Deadline, and the show was alright. I'd give it a solid 6 out of 10. I mean, I wouldn't exactly say that it was NXT's, best performance yet, ever,
Nah. But it wasn't takeover-ish levels, but my God, there was things I loved on the show.
A lot of things I loved about it, too.
Yes,
A few
sir.
things that I have a few opinions on some of the things that was considered controversial, but, a lot of times that can happen.
Yes, sir.
But before we get started on that review, I'm going to ask you, Willie, out of everything that we've talked about over the last 11 weeks, what has been your favorite event to discuss?
Gosh, man. I'd have to say Survivor Series is probably my favorite one that we've done.
That's a good one for me. I honestly enjoy talking about Crown Jewel.
There you go.
Once again, Crown Jewel seems to be on a winning streak.
Yes, sir.
It was once the worst pay-per-view in the entire WWE, and now it's been having so many wins after wins.
Yes, sir.
How did WrestleMania feel this year, just like last year did?
Oh, yeah, for real.
That's why whenever WWE has the Crown Jewel event in Saudi Arabia, I think you just know it's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah, you know what I mean, man. That's what's up.
And, folks, as we all know, the next time NXT has a pay-per-view is on February 4th, and it's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, NXT Vengeance Day.
Back to the arenas we go.
Back to the arenas we go, indeed. And based on how things are looking, we could be looking at a 7 consecutive week podcast for 2023 to finish off the season 5.
Yes, sir.
This is the 5th season of the Losers Lounge podcast. We're coming in on season 6.
Yep.
Because, we got the Royal Rumble, then there's NXT Vengeance Day, then there's Elimination Chamber, and AEW Revolution.
Yep. Ooh, pretty good.
We have a lot of this, we have a lot of that. But for this,
we have everything in between, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. And there very well could be some things that happen in between those events that we may end up talking about, too.
Yep.
We don't know, because here's the thing, as of this date, we don't know the full pay-per-view schedule of WWE throughout 2023.
Yeah.
We only know up until WrestleMania, but I guarantee we're going to know more as time goes on.
Oh, you know, brother.
In the meantime, folks, this is our review on NXT Deadline. And, well, I think we finally figured out why there was a number 1 in the title, and that's because number 1 contender. I'm like, wow, what a shock.
Exactly. We should have figured that out from the very beginning.
It was still kind of a dumb thing anyway.
There you go.
Because, well, I wasn't exactly that enthusiastic about the idea of replacing the letter I with a 1, because now it looks like Deadla won in.
I was thinking it was some big debut. I was like, okay, here's where Dominik Dijakovic comes in. He's going to re-debut, and they're going to repackage him, and nope, that's not what happened.
Yeah, because he ended up debuting a couple weeks prior to the event.
Yep.
So there was that. There was no big debut, but we didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Overall, though, like I said, I give it a solid 6 out of 10. It wasn't the best, but it was definitely not the worst either.
I'd give it probably a 7. That's what I gave it.
All right, well, we kicked things off with the first ever Iron Survivor Challenge that took place, and that was for the women. And
yes, sir.
The match contained Indy Hartwell, Kiana James, Cora Jade, Zoe Stark, and Roxanne Perez. And
Yep.
I remember last week, I took a shot at it and said either Cora Jade or Kiana. Actually, I don't know if I said Cora Jade, but I did say Kiana James. She's ended up getting no pinfalls at all.
Which was hilarious to me.
So that's why I'm like, well, hey, it was worth a shot.
Yeah, there you go.
And for the likes of it, here's the thing. The reason I mentioned I had some controversial opinions is because I rated this a star and a half.
Oh,
I gave it a 1.5 out of 5 points, which was a very low rating.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because there were several pieces of miscommunication throughout the match. A lot of the people didn't seem to see it because, well, they're probably just hooked into the moment. And that's okay if you were, because honestly, if you enjoyed it, I'm actually glad for you. I'm not going to be one of those guys who's going to discriminate against you for having a different opinion from mine.
Yeah.
For my way, I just did not see it to be as good. Whether it was, landing too late, landing too early, that was a few things, or not knowing what was supposed to be hit, and then you just caused a little bit of confusion. Letting go too early as well, that happened. And and even if that wasn't a problem, there was other problems throughout the match as well, which was one of those being like Zoe Stark once used the steel stairs on Roxanne Perez in full view of the referee, and he didn't disqualify her.
Yeah, that's true.
Because disqualifications is a thing. I'm like, shouldn't, as a result, Zoe be disqualified, Roxanne score a point, and Zoe gets sent to the penalty box. And that's where the other piece of criticism comes in, is the ruling of the penalty box. You only spend 90 seconds inside, but they start the 90-second timer when you're still outside the ring.
Yeah, I was like, okay, why aren't they in the box first? I was really questioning that.
At that moment, I'm like, wow, honestly, if that's the case, I can just hang outside for 90 seconds and just run around or something, not going in there. And then time expires. I'm like, hey, look, time expired. I'm going back in.
There you go.
But then, of course, I'm like, what if a wrestler was unconscious?
That's true.
Literally scrape their body out of the ring and drag them to the penalty box. And by the time they get put in, time's up.
Yes, sir.
I'm like, here's the thing. Like, what if they never make it to the penalty box when time's up? Are they allowed back in? Do they get disqualified permanently? Do they got to restart the timer? Who knows what would have happened?
Exactly.
But the thing of the matter is, like, that's another reason why I had a big piece of criticism, is because, like, they were not handling it well with penalty boxes. Like, if you look at sports like hockey and stuff, when you're put in the penalty box, they wait until you're literally in there, the door is closed before they start the timer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're on timeout. Wow, that's like saying, like, putting your kid on a timeout and waiting. You got to start the timeout when they're in the corner, but when they're not in the corner, you don't start the timer of the timeout.
Yeah. This doesn't seem right.
And there were a lot of moments where pinfalls happened, but the shoulders were clearly off or flailing off the camera so many times that they got ignored, and yet, a point was scored as a result.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I had a lot of criticism to the match, and a lot of people just chose to ignore it, which is okay. It's just, when I look at these things and I look at all these errors, sometimes the sinner within me attacks, but,
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm like, I'm a fan, and as a fan, I have the right to say whether or not I like something or not.
Yeah.
But I will ask, what was your thoughts of the first ever Iron Survivor Challenge for the women?
I really enjoyed it for what it was. It was a little bit, I don't know, but it was pieced together okay-ish. I mean, there were a few botches here and there with the match. Miscommunications, like you said, mistiming. The penalty box shtick, I wish it was upped a little bit, like to at least probably a minute, not like 90 seconds. And I wish, like you said, they start outside the box. I'm like, okay. I even questioned during the match. I'm like, okay, why aren't they starting it inside the box? Better than that, like, and also, like, I wish they had, we'll talk about this a little bit later when we come to the main event, well, the co-main event, with the top of the thing, top of the box. So I was thinking, like, they're gonna have something on top of it, like a roof or something like that, the way the wrestlers can't get out. But of course, spoiler alert, someone got out. And but other than that, like, I really haven't that much complaints about it. Kiana James not getting a point, that slightly made me upset. I'm like, come on now, give her at least 1 point. But for what it was really good. I love the reaction of Cora Jade when Roxy won. So that had me on the floor. I'm like, okay, yeah, you got what you wanted, blah, blah, blah. Rox won. It was great. Right decision. I thought Rox and Indy were my two favorites going in. So, yeah, I got one right. So, Roxy won. Great match. I just wish Kiana James got a point. I wish, the time was different, like up to 1 minute. There were a few botches here and there. There were some funny moments in this match. But other than that, I really enjoyed it for what it was. It was their first time going, and I do think they needed to work on a few things. They're going to do this a second time, so, and for the future references. So
yeah,
that's what I think of it.
I think it also would have been cool if Kiana James had just scored at least 1 point, because then she'd at least be tied with everybody else at 1-1 to 1 to 1 to 1. Then if we ever went to sudden death overtime, it would actually be a fair overtime.
Exactly.
Because, that's the other thing. I'm like, okay, they confirmed that if time went over the limit, then they would go into sudden death overtime. I'm like, okay, would that mean that the person who has, like, no points or the lowest amount of points is out of the match already?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
important questions that you're supposed to kind of answer.
Exactly.
But overall, yeah, Roxanne Perez is the winner. We'll talk more about her prize later on, right after we're done reviewing this pay-per-view. But yeah, congratulations to Roxanne Perez. And then with that, we move on to the next match, which was, well, the other women's match of the night. Isla Dawn. Yes, it's Isla Dawn. I just remembered that.
Oh, so it's not Isla? Okay,
Nope.
People kept telling me it's Isla Dawn.
It's not
okay.
Isla, it's not Isla. I just had the issue a little bit, but yeah, it's Isla Dawn, and she took on Alba Fyre. Dawn,
yes.
Fyre, Isla, Alba. Sounds a little interesting. They could totally be a team if they stop fighting each other.
Water, earth, air, fire. The Four Nations and Avatar references. Never mind.
Speaking of, folks, Avatar right now is in theaters. Go ahead and watch it now. Avatar: The Way of Water is in theaters now.
Go watch the better Avatar, actually. Go watch the anime. Go ahead, watch much better. This Avatar's overrated as hell.
Not exactly,
no offense, people out there who like it, but still.
Not exactly the same thing.
Well, it's real still.
It's not even. No,
they're not. Because I get freaking blue people out there.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, there's the whole thing. There's Avatar, like Last Airbender and everything. The anime stuff.
Classic.
Yes, but they share the same name, but that doesn't mean they're related or anything.
Exactly, because that's why some of my homies get confused. Like, I'm gonna watch Avatar. I'm like, you're watching that overrated. I'm like, no, I'm watching the freaking cartoon.
Yeah, I will admit, I enjoyed the first Avatar when it first came out.
Never seen it.
I'm excited to see the next one. I'm seeing it in IMAX 3D, so that should be hopefully good. I mean, the movie took like 3 years to film, actually.
Yep.
3 years, and it's 3 hours long, I guess. 1 year for every hour or something.
If you can sit through 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, which God knows we did this week, then you can sit through 3 hours of a movie.
Yep. By the way, folks, tonight on December 16th, Friday, I am not watching SmackDown tonight because I'm going to be at an indie event nearby Toronto. Indie wrestling event. So, yeah, that should be fun.
There you go.
But I heard it's going to be an amazing show, so I'll catch it later on a replay. In the meantime, though, Alba Fyre, Isla Dawn put on a very entertaining match.
They did.
Match was about 10 minutes long. However, I did have a little bit of a... I had a little bit of a criticism of something.
What you got?
How the hell was it so easy to take the turnbuckle off by simply pulling it?
That's what I'm wondering, too.
Isla Dawn removed that turnbuckle. I'm like, wow, like it took... Here's the thing, when George the Animal Steel tried to take it off, he ended up chewing it apart.
Yep.
And normally you gotta, like, untie it or something. Either it was already untied, or that is the, well, most easily breakable turnbuckle we've ever seen.
There you go.
And then, of course, there was a moment where Alba Fyre was against the exposed steel, but there was a moment Isla Dawn could have, drop kicked her right into it, but instead she goes for hair pulling.
Yep. This
I'm
match was
like,
very, very physical.
I'm like, the exposed steel's right there, and you literally just exposed it to do damage. Now's your chance, and you're gonna do this instead.
But she didn't.
It worked out in the end, though, especially. But then, of course, the voodoo shit happened. As Alba Fyre almost got the win, and then all of a sudden, the referee starts vomiting up black blood like Randy Orton style when Alexa Bliss was killing him.
I remember those days. It gave me flashbacks. I love that. I was like, is the ref like, what's going on with the referee? And they're like, oh, he's vomiting on his own mucus or whatever the heck that was. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, if that's his own mucus, he needs to seek help.
That is very true.
Oh my god! I will admit though, it kind of did take away from the coolness of the match. The coolness. That's what.
Understandable.
Yeah, the match was, no pun intended, fire,
but there was no desire. Anyways.
Okay, that's one way of putting it. It was fire, and then it was frozen, kind of like it is frozen up here in Ontario right now.
And it's freezing right now. There's no snow until apparently it's gonna be snowing on Christmas Day for me. So I'm like, yay, finally.
Oh, that works. For me, it's freaking ice. I had to literally smack my, you know how, we have like a brush and a scraper. I had to literally smack the scraper off on my windshield, and it looked like as if I was breaking the glass, but that was actually just the ice that was over it.
Good God, homie.
And then I also slipped and fucked up my elbow.
Ouch.
So, yeah, I hit my elbow off concrete as a result of slipping. That was before I honestly should have salted the pavement first.
There you go.
Yeah, that's on me. So. But yeah, I was not really the biggest fan of what went down when it came to the blood vomiting and shit.
Yeah.
Because, in addition to Randy Orton doing that, I also got, like Ultimate Warrior doing that thanks to Papa Shango.
Yeah.
And that was weird. So, it's alright, but I just think that part could have been omitted.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, what was your thoughts on the match?
Like I said, the last match was really fun. It was very physical, very violent. Stiff shots were thrown. It was very, no pun intended, satanic. So, I personally liked the ending with the green goo, whatever that was. It made the match feel a little more.
That wasn't even green. That wasn't even green. That was black.
Black. Okay, black. I thought it was green. I could have sworn it was green. Okay. But I thought it made a little bit more importance to the match, in my opinion, and it made Isla, whatever you want to call it. I call it the freaking, as we said last week on the podcast, the Wicked Witch of the West. So, there you go. I thought it made a little bit more sense for her to do that. Actually, if you think about it, it would make more sense for her to do that to Alba Fyre, but, I guess they didn't do that. So, but overall, the match was really, really fun. Physical as heck, like I said. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the goo, whatever the heck that was. And, yeah, really no complaints for me. I just wonder why would you rip a turnbuckle off and then not use it?
Yeah, she did kind of use it at the end.
That's true.
But it was still weird that it happened right after she had the referee vomit.
Yeah.
Just by grabbing his leg.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll be honest, if you wanted to curse him or something, Danhausen style, might as well just grab the leg and then all of a sudden he has a leg injury or something.
Bruh.
Or point at the referee like Danhausen would.
There you go.
And then there's that to think about, so.
There you go.
Overall, though, it was an alright match. Kind of ruined the end. Ruined thanks to the ending for me, but that's just my view. But I'm glad other people enjoyed it. It's just I just feel like we've seen a little too much supernatural stuff going on, especially with Bray Wyatt around again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe we can have some really cool stuff. She could be a witch, yeah, but we should probably do this voodoo shit a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
There are other ways you could do supernatural stuff without actually vomiting.
Like have it coming out every year. I don't know how that would work, but still.
Is that a possibility? Okay, Folks, we're going to move on to the next match, and this was for the NXT Tag Team Championship. This was, in my opinion, one of the best matches of the night. As Pretty Deadly, the Discount Breezango, defended their tag team titles against the New Day, who we still don't understand why they came down there anyway. And as a result, folks, from this match, we got new NXT Tag Team Champions, and that is the New Day. Honestly, I'll be honest, I did not think this would happen.
You know, going into it, I can't remember who I said. I said New Day last week. Yeah, so I was legitimately surprised.
It's one of the times where we didn't exactly want to be right.
Did we really? Because I wanted to be right.
It just didn't make any sense, though, about the New Day being demoted down to NXT just to win the NXT Tag Team titles. And the whole thing about, I get that, they try to say, like, oh, they probably have the New Day win the NXT Tag Team titles to try and elevate the brand more. I'm like, yeah, they tried to do that with Charlotte Flair in the NXT Women's title in 2020. Look how that turned out.
Yeah, that turned out completely horribly and disgusting.
At WrestleMania, for God's sake.
Which we don't talk about. That was a horrible, horrible decision by this company, but whatever.
You were a little too quiet. Did not exactly hear what you said.
I said it was a horrible decision by this company, and they should never, ever do it again, WWE. Ever.
Relying on your main roster stars and everything to carry the NXT brand is not exactly a good view on the development territory. It's not exactly going to do well for that because here's the thing. Like we had mentioned, it didn't work out when Charlotte Flair won the NXT Women's title in 2020 to try and elevate that brand more. Did not work.
Didn't elevate anything, honestly.
Solo Sikoa was briefly the North American champion when he was part of the SmackDown brand. That didn't work out.
Very briefly.
That didn't work out.
Nope. Probably because you got time to get back to him, but get back to NXT, but still.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, didn't work out. Even if he did defend the title one time on SmackDown, I'm like, still didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had, well, now we have the New Day winning the NXT Tag Team titles.
Which is still a shocking thing.
And here's the thing, they're part of the SmackDown brand still. It's been confirmed they're still going to remain on the SmackDown brand.
Yes, they are.
And, like, just taking those NXT titles to SmackDown is not exactly helping here because it's not going to cause people to just flank over to NXT because it didn't work when you tried to have it before. It ain't going to work now. And hopefully one of these days, maybe I'll bite my words or something. I don't know.
Maybe this company will smarten up. I mean, for me, I really have no issue with it. I just find it like one of those things like, okay, why would you move them back down? Maybe it's because, you have the bloodline on SmackDown, on Raw, doing Roman's work, which Roman should be doing, but Roman.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's the only chance the New Day can be tag team champions because, well, the Usos got both the Raw and the SmackDown tag team titles.
Which should never have been unified along with the WWE Universal Championship again. What do I know?
They're still not unified until there's only one title left.
Thank you.
As far as I know, they're just double champions defending in a 2-for-1 deal.
Exactly. It's like you order some from McDonald's.
Same thing with Roman Reigns. It's a 2-for-1 deal here.
Yep.
That just is how it is, folks. I mean, you don't like to like it. I don't fucking like it. But it is what it is. I believe, I understand wanting to have New Day there to, try and elevate the brand or something and everything like that. Fuck that shit. But I'm like, at the same time, you don't need them. If the development, it's the development territory, not an official third brand. Y'all been going back and forth on that. And if you're now going back on it again and saying that, oh yeah, now we actually need some main roster talent down here to try and elevate the development platform more, I'm like, well, it's not exactly going to work out because, that just shows your development talent can't help themselves.
Oof.
That's honestly a blow to them.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, honestly.
I'm wondering who was next in line to beat, Pretty Deadly. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It didn't seem like the tag team division was not that big.
Yeah, they don't really have that much tag teams, in the tag team division. So
yeah, I'm like, how is this gonna work out? Imagine how crazy it's gonna. What are you rubbing against?
My thing fell on the floor. Whoops. Sorry about that, folks.
Got it.
Fell on the floor. I had to pick it
up.
But
at the same time, I'm like, what happens once New Day loses these NXT tag team titles? And what if the ratings don't rise?
I know. I don't know, actually.
What if the ratings don't rise the way they're probably hoping they would with the New Day appearing, or at the times when they're appearing on SmackDown as the NXT Tag Team Champions promoting that development brand? What if that doesn't work out? It just once again shows that this was a failure from the beginning. And you can't say, well, it was worth a shot, because then you got Charlotte Flair over here.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. Ugh, gross.
Yeah, didn't work out. Just accept it. Here's the thing, if NXT's gonna get low views, well, fucking accept it.
Exactly.
And if you want to rise up with the views, work on it yourself.
Yeah.
Hell, we got Triple H in control. We got Shawn Michaels in control and everything. I'm like, they should not be worried about the fact that, NXT doesn't get as many views to say a Raw or to SmackDown. And it's gotten to the point where, honestly, do you think they really are intimidated by AEW Dynamite?
No. Hell no. Nobody's gonna be like intimidated by AEW. They're doing their own thing, and I think they just need to do it a little bit differently, which they are doing. Their tag team scene in NXT, they need to get it bigger. Expand a little bit more. Maybe that's what brought New Day in. I don't know why they did that. That's another thing. I'm gonna talk about tag team wise. How about the women? That's actually been built up. The women's division, their tag team division's actually fleshed out.
Yeah, folks, we got a triple threat tag team match for the women's tag team titles this upcoming Tuesday on NXT. Go watch it. And
yeah, please.
And yeah, it's loaded. It's pretty loaded, and we got more potentially on the way. And I get the whole thing.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. We're gonna talk more about Toxic Attraction's little situation in a moment after we're done with this event. But at the same time, it goes to show that they're doing great with the women's tag team division and actually doing a build-up. Yeah. Hell, they're doing a better job than the fucking main roster's women division.
That's an understatement right there, because the women's tag team division in general, there's non-existent, and there's just many things that's going on that need to be fixed.
Yeah, like you got Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox. They're challenging tonight on SmackDown for the women's tag team titles after beating Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. And I'm like, wait, what?
See, you're running out of tag teams today.
Yeah, I believe, here's the thing. This is the thing, the reason it sucks. I get it, yeah. Damage Control is a pretty big tag team right now and quite a dominant force. I'm like, there you go. You got your dominant force. Where's the rest of your competition, though? Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox is just the December's flavor. They're going to be gone. And then, unless they win the tag team titles, and then maybe Damage, but if they do that, Damage Control might be gone. And then all of a sudden, now we got this. Oh, they're gone too. Okay, now we're going to combine these two women together. Oh, we're done with them. They're gone.
It's like something on Universe Mode, a wrestling game.
Exactly. That's why the women's tag team division in WWE, at least on the main roster anyway, is a complete utter failure and should not have been brought back after Sasha Banks ran away with Naomi.
Thank you.
This is not exactly working. Here's the thing. You can have a dominant tag team champions, but you have to have competition too. Otherwise, they're dominating by default here.
And there's no other stable or tag team out there that you can really put together. It's like, we'll put this person together. We'll put this person together. We'll put this. I don't get it, man.
At that moment, it's like, nope, not that one. How about this one? Nope, not that one. How about this one? Nope, already beat them. How about this? Nope.
Exactly.
How about nope? How about nope? How about nope? You don't have time to even finish that question before you hear nope.
Exactly.
You hear nope more times than Jordan Peele's movie.
Oof.
So, that's why, now you got the men. Here's the thing, at least the women's tag division and NXT seems to be working out. But then you got over the male NXT tag team division.
It's not working.
You got to bring in the New Day to stand in here. I'm like, oh my god, you seriously could not have just, oh my god, gotten these other teams involved? No, they're not. They wouldn't have been as good. Well, whose fault is that?
Booking.
Bingo! Booking's fault. Booking still has problems even after Vince McMahon is long gone and possibly returning.
Yeah, we don't know. Please no.
Yeah, wait, that honestly is just that's a confusion right there. But I will say the match between Pretty Deadly and the New Day was fun, especially that four-way Eddie Guerrero moment.
Did love that moment.
Yep. One of the titles, pretend they got hit. Oh, now I'm going to throw you. Nope, I'm going to pretend you got hit. Well, I think was funny was Pretty Deadly. It got to the point where they even threw the titles at each other and pretended that they got hit by their own partner.
Exactly.
At that moment, I was like, probably should have thrown it at Kofi or something like that. But I just love how Kofi's the last one standing. He just drops the title and falls dead, too.
Yep.
I think that was the best part of it.
Exactly.
Oh, that was so fucking awesome. But in the end, yeah, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods performed the Midnight Hour, won the NXT Tag Team titles. Yes, they're the third Triple Crown Tag Team Champions in WWE history behind the Revival and the Street Profits. But at least, I'll be perfectly honest, the only team out of all that truly earned it was the Revival. The Street Profits got it by that title exchange in 2020.
Does anyone remember that? I remember that.
I remember that. Yeah, here's the thing. I'm like, okay, Street Profits are Raw Tag Team Champions. They got drafted over to SmackDown. New Day, up to the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. They got drafted over to Raw. And I'm like, what the fuck do we do now? And then it's like, title switch. Simple title exchange. And I'm like, well, that just causes an additional new reign for both teams.
That's what Becky and Charlotte did.
Yeah, this is why we've hopefully in 2023's rumored draft taking place potentially after WrestleMania. If you're a tag team champion of a Raw or SmackDown, you're automatically on that brand.
Exactly.
Not to mention, of course, split the fucking tag team titles, please.
Please.
Split the fucking world titles, please. Fix the mistakes, and we'll say apology accepted.
And if you don't, then...
Well, then you're still following the same dumb place that Vince McMahon went down.
Exactly.
The whole, let's unify the damn titles. I just found it weird that they did the whole unification stuff for the world titles and the tag titles, but didn't even touch the women's titles. That's the moment I'm like, wait, what the hell is going on here? Okay, you got these ones, but you don't have these ones?
It doesn't make any sense.
That might be because the Bloodline didn't exactly have a female with them. We've always hoped that maybe Naomi would join them after splitting up with Sasha Banks. Or Sasha Banks could have joined up with the Bloodline too, as a result of teaming with Naomi. Oh, look at that. Now they're the singles champions, and now they won't run away when they're asked to face for those titles. Because then they'll have everything, and now they're in the main attraction. Hey!
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Of course, that didn't end up working out. A lot of things didn't end up working out, especially with the likes of the fact that we had to resort to New Day winning NXT Gold.
Yeah, because
at least the Revival, when they became the... Here's the thing, becoming Triple Crown champions shouldn't happen just because you want it to happen and everything.
Exactly.
Because here's the thing, if you've been a Raw Tag Team Champion for almost 500 days, and you've been a SmackDown Tag Team Champion like 7 or 8 times, going back and winning NXT Tag Team titles, that's honestly a demotion.
I still see a little bit differently, but that's just me.
At least with the Revival's case, and even with the Street Profits case, they won the NXT ones first, and then moved their way up the ranks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, that's the status of the NXT Tag Team Division right now.
Hire us, Hunter. Hire us, Sean.
Oh, boy.
We're waiting.
Oh, well. In the meantime, folks, we're going to move on to the next match, and this was the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge.
Match of the night!
Yep, and in this case, the participants, Grayson Waller, Carmelo Hayes, JD McDonough, Joe Gacy, and Axiom.
Again, match of the night.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. Remember how last week, when we talked on the podcast, we had said, yeah, let's have, no, not you, we're hoping to save you for another time. Not you, you already lost to Braun Breaker. Not you, you already lost to Braun Breaker. And not you because you ain't ready. That just left Grayson Waller. And then we're like, oh, fuck. We gotta choose you by default here. And guess what? Grayson Waller won!
Yes.
We got the win for Grayson Waller! Perfect decision in my opinion because, well, we all know Grayson Waller, he ain't gonna win the title from Braun Breaker on New Year's Evil.
No, you ain't. No, you ain't.
And Carmelo Hayes, that should be safe for NXT Stand and Deliver.
Exactly.
Because that is, let's be honest, that is NXT's biggest match that they can do for the NXT title.
Sounds like NXT's version of WrestleMania, so there you go.
Yes, here that's why I'm like, I've seen people like saying stuff like, you know, have them do the match of Vengeance Day, and then they have their call-ups, and I'm like, no.
No. Why would you do it there? Oh, well, it's the first show with the crowd back in arenas. No. I don't care. That's bigger. You do it at WrestleMania.
Yeah. During WrestleMania week. And besides, you're going to be performing on the same day as Night 1 of WrestleMania, so you better give it all you got.
Exactly.
The show's called Stand and Deliver. This is the perfect way to stand and deliver. So like we said, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, that should be the right move for the Stand and Deliver event, not the Vengeance Day event. I get that you get...
Exactly.
Vengeance Day, yes, is the first NXT pay-per-view that's not part of WrestleMania week that's going to be involved in a crowd outside of the Performance Center. Yes, I get that. But don't blow your load with Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes right then and there.
Pause.
Some people... Okay, yes, I know. I heard what I said. Some people, on the other hand, actually said that they should do a match at Vengeance Day and then a rematch at Stand and Deliver. I'm like, no!
I saw that too. I mean, why would... I mean, that'd be cool, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't make any sense to really do that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, some even said, like, keep them away from each other until they're on the main roster. I'm like, no!
How? Okay. How and why would that work?
Yeah. I get that there were two of NXT's best stars and everything, and you want to wait for them to be on the main roster, but at the same... And here's the other thing as well. People saying, like, call both of them up. I'm like, well, what do you leave NXT with then?
Grayson Waller.
They're practically Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes are practically the top two guys here, so it ain't gonna be them.
You dang right, my boys run NXT.
Yeah, they ain't gonna go up on at the same time. Where one has to leave, I'm pretty sure the other one is not gonna follow, at least not right away.
Yeah.
Because you still gotta build up the guys you also got here while you making usage of these two top stars here.
Exactly.
Grayson Waller right now, this is the chance for him to actually shine with Braun Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
JD McDonough, well, he's already faced off with Braun Breaker, but he also has the potential of being quite a star in 2023 in NXT.
Correct.
Joe Gacy, I'm just going to say, I like his new outfit.
Yeah, for real.
Looks a lot less like Discount Bray Wyatt and more like Discount Husky Harris.
Bruh, dude, for real. It looks like Kevin Owens and Husky Harris had a kid.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you got Axiom, who actually performed pretty good.
Great character, great build, great character. I like it. He's a good kid.
That was the right moment where, honestly, we should just... Okay, I see what you did there. But I see what this is the moment where we should totally keep an eye on him in 2023 as well.
North American Championship.
Perhaps this is exactly what we needed for this case.
Exactly.
By the way, you mentioned Keanu James not scoring a point, while just not Carmelo. JD McDonough didn't score a single point while everybody else scored 2.
I was disappointed in you, Finn Jr.
Well, maybe he's just not as good as Finn Balor.
No, he's not.
After all, he lost to him at the first ever NXT UK pay-per-view.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Fun match, though.
It was.
Maybe that's the next thing we should totally go back and look at.
Yes.
Finn Balor, Jordan Devlin at the time.
Good times.
But yeah, what I think is Grayson Waller not only was the winner of the match, but in my opinion, he was the smartest guy in the match.
Yeah, when Waller won, I just sank down. I'm like, all right.
Oh, I'm talking about when he entered.
So funny.
When he entered, he scored 2 points in less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, and my jaw dropped. I'm like, huh? Okay.
1, 2, 3. Grayson Waller with a pin. Okay, let me pin this guy. 1, 2, 3. Yeah!
I was like, what? Okay.
He was instantly in the lead in less than 10 seconds.
Match was so good.
Imagine if he pinned 3 guys at once. Would that be 3 points?
I
think it would be, yeah.
I wouldn't think so, but there you go.
Because, well, you're pinning 3 people. So, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, true.
3 people.
How would you pin
points.
3 people, though?
I mean, lie entirely across them. They're side by side on the ground, lying face.
Well, that's true.
Face up, and then yeah.
That's true, yeah.
That could be worked on as well. Carmelo Hayes also once again stole the show in the match, as we always figured he would, because he's been a show stealer since he showed up.
Exactly. Show up, show out.
Yeah, Carmelo Hayes, one of the best from NXT 2.0, next to Braun Breaker.
Dang right.
And I cannot wait when it's time for both those guys to be on the main roster.
I was saying, bro.
We're starting to slowly dip our toes back into what it felt like for these talent to be coming up from as developmental, and then they're moving up to the main roster, except that this time, it ain't going to be like what happened to Shinsuke Nakamura.
Nah.
Or like what happened to a Finn Balor. Okay,
Nope.
For the record, it wasn't that bad, but, compared to what it was like in NXT. But, I also want to take this moment, and we'll get back to reviewing the match really quickly, but I also want to take this moment and say, did you hear, Willie, that Triple H is not exactly happy with some of the talent on the main roster?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, I heard about that.
I guess, honestly, perhaps that shows how NXT, no matter how much you want to promote it, is not ever going to be on the same level as a Raw or a SmackDown.
I mean, that's true, but I think they're talking about, maybe some main roster talent, maybe some NXT talent, but we don't know yet.
No, he's talking about the majority of people he's been bringing back.
Oh, those people. Yeah, that's pretty much true.
And with the exception of a Bray Wyatt or Braun Strowman, almost everybody else were his NXT people.
Yep.
I'll be honest, like, if I look back on those who kept coming back ever since, the returns started happening, outside, from the NXT crew, most impressed with Johnny Gargano. Even if he's not doing much, he's still doing a lot.
Yep.
Dexter Lumis, he's been entertaining, also thanks to The Miz.
Exactly.
As for the women, not much we can say. Candice LeRae's okay. Tegan Knox, she just came back. Mia Yim, well, she performed in War Games, so she's actually doing great as well. Gallows and Anderson.
The OC.
Gallows and Anderson came back, but they were not NXT guys. But, well, they were doing great as well.
Yep.
My point being, like, it's just, you're bringing all these people back, especially since a lot of people don't watch NXT. I really think you gotta just have people dip their toes into this first.
Yeah, you gotta slow down also with the returns. Like, you're reaching, I'm about to say this. You're reaching Tony Khan level.
Yeah, you're kind of reaching Tony Khan level because, well, the rosters are bloated. It's gotten to the point where, however, I will say there is a positive to something.
What you got?
Well, SmackDown's roster is a lot bigger than Raw's roster in both male and female. Seriously, count the talent that's on SmackDown. There's more talent on SmackDown than there is on Raw, and they're thriving as a 2-hour show. So, yeah, exactly. Get rid of the 3 hours on Raw, please. I mean, then again, that's not exactly their choice, but...
Yeah, USA Network, that's your choice.
Yeah, I'm hoping that somehow they can secure a deal about this. Because maybe this could help.
I think it would help, honestly. The 3 hours just so much, like, it's a hassle, bro.
Really is. But back to the Iron Survivor Challenge for the men. I say that was a bigger improvement than the women's match. Some have disagreed with me with that already, but that's okay. Nobody was hostile toward me, and that's what I'm proud of.
I enjoyed it more than the women's match. I'm not saying the women's match was bad. I just thought this one had more action, more, surprises, more just wow and awe and OMG moments than the women. That's just me.
Well, there you go on that. I mean, for my case, I was impressed with a lot of the things, and from my perspective, I'll even flat out say it. I thought the women's Survivor match was bad, but that doesn't mean I'm a sexist or anything.
Nah.
After all, I literally praised the hell out of Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre afterwards.
Exactly.
Had a little bit of criticism for the voodoo magic at the end, but it wasn't because of the women's stuff. It was mostly because I'm like, okay, I kind of seen this already, and I mean, that probably would have looked cool if Alexa Bliss hadn't done it first.
Exactly.
But Grayson Waller, the last minute he scored a fall after getting out of that penalty box. When he realized how much time was left, he quickly got a pinfall. He's in the lead. And he's making sure
running around the ring,
making sure nobody's in prone pin position. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm gonna start running away from Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That was the smartest thing to do. When you know you're in the lead and time's running out, make sure you keep that lead by any means necessary.
This man should have ran backstage.
I mean, here's the thing. He had to stay because, well, otherwise someone may have scored a point while in his absence.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
With that, we're going to move on to the Wizard of Oz main event.
It's time to see the Wizard. Well, you could call it the Wizard of Oz match because it was something.
Yep, Braun Breaker versus Apollo Crews for the NXT Championship. The friendliest rivalry with so many Wizard of Oz references that we made last week. Oh my god.
Go listen to it, folks. You have not listened to it. You will really enjoy it.
That's so funny. I can't believe we actually did that.
Same here. It was just out of the blue. Remember, our stuff is unscripted, folks. So that was out of the blue that we did that.
Yep. And for the record, folks, I did end up rewatching The Wizard of Oz after that.
I did too, no joke.
Yeah, it's just such a legendary classic. It's worth going to watch over and over. I guarantee that I'm going to be there in a movie theater if they're doing some sort of event for this 100th year anniversary in 2039. You and I will both be like 43 years old.
There you go.
We'll be 43, hopefully with children.
There you go.
And we'll take them with us to watch the movie.
Oh, for real.
In the meantime, Braun Breaker, Apollo Crews, the match itself was all right. It was not the best match, but it was competitive. Competitive enough for me to give it a little bit of a pass.
It was back and forth. There was lots of takedowns, lots of wrestling-ish style in this match. Takedowns, suplexes. all that stuff.
From both Braun Breaker and Apollo Crews.
Yeah, for real.
Once again had
these guys could go.
Once again had us wondering where was this Apollo Crews throughout his main roster run.
I don't know.
I mean, he's at least a former U.S. and Intercontinental Champion.
Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, but for whatever reason,
I missed that gimmick.
Isn't he supposed to be Nigerian? What happened to your accent?
I got that reference.
I
love that gimmick.
I hope it wasn't wrong for me to, every time I saw Nigerian Apollo Crews, to suddenly shout out Wakanda Forever.
Nah.
I bet everybody else is probably thinking the same thing.
Don't you worry.
So when are you going to be in the next Wakanda movie?
Probably on Brockway.
Who knows? Anything's possible.
Oh, for real.
But overall,
I'm starting to be Miles Morales, so we're good.
But Braun Breaker, folks, yes, retained the NXT Championship as we figured he would, because let's be honest, he ain't dropping that title to Apollo. I get that, the New Day won the tag titles. That didn't mean that Braun was going to suddenly drop the NXT title to Apollo.
Apollo summoned the gods or something like that during the match. It was very creepy. It was odd. So he closed his eyes, opened his eyes, and all of a sudden he beat the living daylights out of Braun. I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Perhaps the Nigerian heavens have finally spoken to him.
I guess.
And what the hell happened to Commander Aziz?
I have no idea. I think he's on. I think last time we seen him, he's doing some stuff on live events at NXT. So yeah.
Yeah, well, that guy got repackaged so many times to the point where he's got as many amount of names as Wade Barrett has entrance themes.
Dude, Wade Barrett's entrance themes were good.
Yes, they were. Unfortunately, he still never got that far.
Nah, should have became WWE champion.
Yep. After the match ended, though, Braun Breaker was assaulted by Grayson Waller.
Gross.
Because, well, we got to build the match up for New Year's Evil. Taking place, folks, on January the 10th.
10. Anyways, I'm not doing that.
Maybe that guy's coming back on New Year's Evil.
Please no.
No. I don't expect Ty Dillinger to show up. I think we should finally address something. Because, folks, that concludes our review for NXT Deadline, but we're not exactly done just yet. Because this past Tuesday on NXT, we had an out-of-nowhere match. The match that was supposed to be scheduled for the NXT Women's Championship at New Year's Evil between Mandy Rose and Roxanne Perez ended up happening on that event. Instead, on December 13th. And, folks, we have a new NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez, ending Mandy Rose's title reign at 413 days, just 3 days shy of tying with Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
We're that close. But hey,
so close!
But hey, it's okay, though, because, Mandy Rose had a fantastic reign. She holds the record for the most amount of defenses behind Asuka.
She does.
Asuka, from what I heard, defended 11 times. Mandy Rose, 10.
Yep.
So, ta-da!
Good times.
And you notice the pattern here. Mandy Rose and Shayna Baszler's title reign are practically the same thing. They won it on the last week of October and then lost it in the middle of December the following year. And even during WrestleMania week, defended in a 4-way and won.
Yep.
Coincidence?
I think not.
Nope.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I was surprised that Mandy Rose lost the championship on that episode of NXT. I'm like, whoa, okay. But at the same time, congrats to Roxanne Perez. She's younger than us because she was born in 2001.
Yep.
And can you believe that this has been a wild year for Roxanne Perez, because she started off the year as the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, the first ever.
Correct.
Then she signed with WWE, and then she teamed up with Cora Jade, won the NXT Tag Team titles, even though that didn't last long. Also won the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. And then won the first ever Women's Iron Survivor Challenge, and now ends the year as the NXT Women's Champion.
What a year for Roxy. It's been a good year for her.
You can't make this shit up.
No, you can't.
This is absolutely amazing. She deserves every last bit of the praise.
She does.
Because, oh my god, that was absolutely insane.
What a year for her.
What a year for her, indeed it has been. Honestly, it's gotten to the point where she's like, potentially, she's definitely, in my opinion, the top 50 for Wrestler of the Year.
There you go.
I wouldn't go as far as top 10, but I'd say at least top 50.
She's in like my top 20.
I guarantee
40.
number one for you is Finn Balor.
Nah, no. Surprisingly, no. John Moxley.
Yeah, honestly, Moxley, yeah. Best wrestler of the year, and that's because of his amazing performances throughout 2022.
Second to Seth Rollins, so, yeah.
Yep. But here's the thing. We went from one day being excited and happy for Roxanne Perez, and at the same time, what the fuck was it? Praising Mandy Rose for an incredible 413-day reign, to getting some unfortunate news.
Yeah.
Mandy Rose got fired from WWE as a result of inappropriate, explicit, sexual, full frontal nudity images. That's a lot of words I just said. Being leaked online. Here's the thing. If these were just private photos that she was sending to somebody, well then yes, this would probably not be the same situation as something like Paige.
Different scenario, people.
Yeah, it's a different scenario because, in a way, it's a complicated situation, and we're not going to go too far into this, folks, because this is absolutely controversial in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'm going to flat out say it. I do not like that Mandy Rose got fired, but from a business perspective, I understand why they did it, because we're talking selling your sex stuff, not just your nudity, but I didn't see any leaks, folks, because I didn't look at any of that shit. And I'm actually being serious. I'm not one of those people that claims they didn't see it, but they actually did. I didn't see it, but I did hear, in addition to actual explicit uncensored nudity, there was also some actual sex scenes.
One of my buddies sent it to me just to, do its trick. I saw it, and I don't look it up, guys, but there's a reason why they fired her, and I talked about this on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, the thing is, it's controversial.
Yeah, question?
The reason it's controversial is because a lot of people are comparing this to other situations. Like, first they tried to compare it to when Paige's sex tape was leaked, and at that moment you're like, well, it's a different scenario because that was a private video that got leaked on the internet that was never going to be shared to anyone. Mandy Rose is, she's posting these images and the sex videos for money. So she was already selling herself as a potential pornography adult star. That's the difference here. Here's the thing. If this was the present day right now, and the same thing happened to, let's say, when China went into porn, I don't think they would have kept her, just like they didn't keep her back then. Well, then again, she was gone way before she ever went into adult films.
Oh, yeah.
But what I'm trying to point out for this case, folks, is like, it's one thing to pose with, like, very skimpy outfits, bra and panties, or if you're naked, but you have your important stuff being covered. Like the time when Mandy Rose had a creative image when she unified the NXT and NXT UK women's titles. She had, one title covering her breasts, the other covering her below the belt area.
Yeah.
And that was creative because I'm like, I get it now. That's actually really good. It reminds me of the time when Shawn Michaels posed for Playgirl with that title.
I've done that before. Not Playboy. No, not that.
I was about to ask some questions.
Not that, folks. I've done
but you pose similar to that, right?
Yeah. No, wait. Well.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say for the record, folks, we're neither confirming nor denying a lot of things. But what we will say is, no, you're not going to ever see a photo of that because he didn't take any photos.
Oh, hell no. The losers are very private. Okay. Yeah.
Losers are very private with what we do in our private lives. Just like I've mentioned before, having a private life, like. People don't. Here's like the furthest I've ever went is telling people I'm gay.
I don't reveal details about my private life.
Yeah, I'm like the furthest I revealed was my sexuality, but whether I'm taken, single, married, divorced, widowed, dear God, hopefully not, because being a widow I heard is the worst thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of that, you guys will sadly never know because, well, there's a lot of things that are in my private life that will remain such,
Yeah.
and that would be including my future family.
Yes, sir.
So, back to the conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
It's understandable that people are upset that Mandy Rose got fired for these images. However,
I'm one of them people.
other people, are comparing it to the fact that Matt Riddle, folks, who by the way is suspended as a result of doing cocaine.
Yeah, he did the coke.
Second suspension, and he was given an ultimatum: go to rehab or you're fired.
Or get fired.
Yeah,
Someone else
so-
should have taken that advice.
So,
Jeff.
yeah,
Anyways.
that's why. Okay, wow, Jeff Hardy. But this is another reason why I'm like, people are saying that is a slap on the wrist. I'm like, no, being forced into rehab is
No.
not a slap on the wrist. That's get the
They're
fuck.
trying to help him.
That's get the fuck out of here. Get some help, or you're not allowed back here again. A slap on the wrist is simply saying don't do that again. And like example, the Usos and the DUIs. That in my opinion is a valid argument.
Yes.
Because they honestly should not have won the tag team titles when they did after said DUIs. I've even said that myself. They should not have done it. Here's the thing. That's why try and bring that up all you want to me. It's not going to work. So,
Mm-hmm.
this is why I'm saying, like, the whole deal with Mandy Rose as well was not just the fact that, she was doing these images, but it is very possible. And like I'm saying, folks, we're only fans. We cannot confirm or deny anything because we have no sources, zero sources. We are not in the company. No way of knowing anything because we're on the outside.
Exactly.
Regardless.
We're just fans. Just like you guys. We're just fans.
It is possible, this is only an assumption on my part, it is possible that Mandy Rose had been posting these images under the company's nose, which would have been a breach of her contract.
That's what reports are saying, apparently.
And it is very possible that her employers found out as a result of the leaks, like the rest of us did.
Actually, Christian, it was reported today, about 2 hours ago, I believe, that, so the story goes, is that Matt Bloom found out and told Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels found out, and they were like, you can't do that. Basically, like, we can't have her, like, and we'll see what we can do her down the road. But for now, she's been released. Apparently the door is open for her to return, but there's going to be an ultimatum that, she has to take down her website, all kind of stuff, or whatever. So the door is open for her to return. I honestly do think she'll be back, because let's be honest, people are saying, oh my God, Mandy should get AEW. Why? Give me one reason why.
Well, probably because AEW would probably allow her to do porn even if she was, there.
No. Put that aside, Christian. Why would legitimately she get AEW? Besides that,
I mean, she's
to get lost in the shuffle.
I mean, no, I wouldn't probably say that. I mean, she probably would get lost in the shuffle, sure, but at the same time, she has quite a reputation based off her NXT performance.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I'm just
that is actually
like
fair.
It's another person out there on the roster.
Yeah. The whole thing with Mandy Rose, I don't see her like being gone for good. No.
Nah, she'll be back in 2023, folks.
Like
Trust me.
The whole deal with here's the thing. I'm not gonna make any predictions on when she's coming back because anything is possible. But
That's true.
like I mentioned before, I don't like that she got fired, but I understand why she did. So I'm not exactly gonna say you're wrong to be upset about it because I'm upset about it. I didn't want it to happen, but I understand why it happened.
Yeah.
And the difference between Matt Riddle and Mandy Rose here, like we mentioned, is Matt Riddle got busted for drugs, which are illegal.
Yes.
It's illegal in general, but with Mandy Rose, she probably has like a clause in her contract, and probably practically every other wrestler does too, about not doing explicit, uncensored nudity / sexual content for money reasons. And you can go ahead and bring up the Playboy magazine stuff that the women used to do, but then here's the thing: the important keywords are used to do.
Yes, sir.
Whatever happened in the past is not relevant to the present because they're not the same company that they were back then. And plus, when you look at the freaking Playboy magazines, okay, I'll be perfectly honest, I've not exactly seen a Playboy magazine in years because let's be honest, nobody looks at magazines anymore.
I haven't seen one, period, so.
Well, I have. I will admit there were times when I was younger I did look at Playboy magazines, because I'm a fucking guy. That used to be my thing. That used to be a lot of people's
Nice, homie.
But I did see some WWE ones.
There you go.
Here's the thing. Those two Some of them were completely naked, but those who were, they weren't exactly showing the uncensored graphics.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on the cover here. They don't exactly... Here's like a majority of the women's wrestlers in WWE, when they were on Playboy, they were cover girls. And when you're on the cover, you're not fully naked because they're putting that all on the public shelves.
Yeah.
So, whatever happens on the inside, well, that was a nice reference. But
there you go.
I will say, like, back then, that's what it was back then. And when you're talking about bringing up the situation with the former Ember Moon, now Athena, when she was apparently told to act pretty or look sexy or something like that, they probably did say that, in which case that is a little bit of cause for concern and a little bit of hypocrisy. However, they never once said, let's see everything, completely uncensored, explicit, let's see you fucking somebody or something like that, and you're going to get paid money for this.
Yeah.
Because WWE is a family product. It's a PG product whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
It applies to families. And, right now it seems like Mandy Rose is the cover girl for NXT, or was. And,
Now it's Roxy.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, when it comes to Mandy Rose and stuff like that, dressing in, like, sexy outfits, or, being in, like, being naked, but having the important stuff covered for censorship because of creativity, it causes creativity, but at the same time, it's not exactly against your contract to do that. If you want to go ahead and post, like, sexy images of yourself on, like, FanTime, apparently that's what it was, your FanTime account, as long as, like, they were not completely explicit, stuff like that, because I guarantee that she was not allowed to do that. I guarantee she was not even doing, like, the Foley, making an actual uncensored sexual content until recently.
Exactly.
Otherwise, this would have been a big issue. And if she was, and she clearly didn't tell her employer, otherwise, why the hell was she getting fired? Now, and not then.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, the bottom line for this is Mandy Rose clearly breached her contract. Whatever those breaches were, we'll probably never know because it ain't our business. Fact of the matter is, though, she breached her contract. You suffer the consequences. I don't like that it happened. I wish she probably would have gotten suspended instead of fired, but I understand why they did it because I'm a guy who, despite has personal feelings, I have also business feelings as well. I've studied business, for God's sakes. I know exactly how a lot of things work. And while I don't know exact details on things, I have a hint on how things work based off of things I've learned in school.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure you've probably experienced a few things or two when you were in your school days regarding businesses, right?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of like a requirement.
That's about the rules, folks. Like, and it's it hurts. Honestly, it really hurts. But I understand why they did what they did. The door is open for her to come back. We don't know if she'll come back. I think she will. It's her own shtick. That at the end of the day, like, it's business. It sucks. It freaking hurts to death. And we'll see what happens going forward. Maybe we see her back. Maybe we don't. We don't know. She's a millionaire. She can do the heck she freaking pleases. Now, she's on her free time.
Hell, I've honestly
let's give her time to think.
Hell, I've honestly heard that quite possibly she was getting paid more to do this FanTime thing than she was for being paid for NXT.
That's true.
So, in a way, I can understand why, she probably would have chose that over the other because, one's paying you more. But the big difference was, back then she was being paid by both.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
But I understand at the same time, you want to
uphold the image.
If it's the whole money thing, then whatever floats her boat, I wish her the best of luck. I'm disappointed that this happened. I'm disappointed that she breached contract. I'm also disappointed in WWE for just instantly acting and firing. Or maybe they probably did talk with her, did come up with a few consensus, and she probably, who knows how that whole situation did. There's a million different ways this could have happened.
Yeah, we don't know, what went down in the locker room. We don't know what down with any of that.
Because, well, it ain't our business to know.
And we're fans at the end of the day. Yeah, we're allowed to speculate on something like that, but, we're fans at the end of the day.
All we can do is speculate, folks. I know I know a lot of people probably expected us to rant the living hell out about this.
Well, Trust me, I went about this yesterday.
We're not pissed off. We're disappointed. That's the difference.
I'm three things. I'm sad, disappointed, just I don't know.
Tired?
For it to end like this, it's unfortunate. It sucks. It's one of those things you don't want to see happen. And just be thankful, folks. This was not Finn Balor or Becky Lynch. I would be singing a different tune.
Probably, but at the same time, I would hope that you would still hopefully see
Yeah.
the business side of things.
Yeah.
And somebody had even asked me, and I'm not calling anybody out, nor am I naming names here, but somebody asked me on my social media, do you think they would have done the same thing if it was Roman Reigns? I'm like, yeah, they would.
Yeah.
Because nobody's above the company. If Roman Reigns was suddenly doing explicit, uncensored pornography or something like that to get money for it, and especially since at the status he was at, top star of the whole damn company, he probably would also get fired for this because it's putting a bad image on the WWE.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So that's why I'm saying there's a different scenario between like the Usos DOI, Matt Riddle's cocaine situation, and Mandy Rose, and also Paige's sex tapes. There's a whole... You can't really compare those things because they're different scenarios with different types of consequences. And someone actually also said they looked at, doing drugs as having like a higher punishment than doing porn. I'm like, in a way, yes, I can understand that. That is understandable.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe Mandy Rose... I think Mandy Rose actually was given a consensus, probably asked and told, it's either do this or you're fired. Just like Matt Riddle was said, do this or you're fired. So in a way, it kind of is like the same response.
Yeah.
One just took the rehab, the other took the termination.
Yeah.
And that's just it, folks. It just is what it is, man. And
I think things will come around regardless of what happens. She'll be fine. Whatever she chooses to do, whether she chooses to wrestle or not, she's happy. She's living her life. WWE will be fine.
Yeah, here's the thing. If WWE...
It is what it is.
I'll be perfectly honest. I think the other reason why that WWE went ahead and took action the way they did and not taking shit for any of this is because, well, let's be honest, if they had just let it slide that Mandy Rose was doing the pornography and stuff like that, it would probably make others think, hey, I can do this too now. And then, almost...
It's a bad look on the company.
Bad look on the company, and almost every female, or even the males, if they get involved in it too, are doing sex stuff for money. And, which at the same time, whether using their likeliness, using their images and stuff like that, and, they're famous online already, they're famous worldwide because of their status in WWE, would, yes, indeed, hurt the company. I guarantee there's a lot of people in AEW who are not doing this either.
Exactly.
Because it would actually put a bad rep on the company.
Exactly.
Putting bad reps on the company is why the companies act the way they do. Because, they got to say themselves, you may call it selfish, but folks, it is what it is. That's kind of how business works, in a way. We don't have to like it. I sure as hell don't like it. But that's how it works if you're going to do this. You gotta accept that there are consequences to actions, and there's limits to what you can do if you want to do this.
That's why I said on my YouTube channel about the whole thing. You guys are going to look it up and stuff like that. That's what I said. There's consequence to your actions. And
that's what happens. Hell, YouTube's another example now. There's a limit to what you can do. Big example. You can't do this. I remember back in the days, it was always fun to watch YouTube because of crazy stuff that was happening online. And these days, you can't have someone like McJuggernuggets do another Psycho series because of YouTube.
Nope.
And for folks, that fucking Psycho series that McJuggernuggets did from 2012 to 2016, fabulous. Absolutely fantastic.
Loved it.
Great storytelling. The fact that you got hours worth of content for free, and it was dramatic, it was insane, it was violent. And YouTube, these days, if it happened, the videos would either be taken down or he wouldn't be monetized for it and thus couldn't do it. From what I heard, McJuggernuggets doesn't even profit off of YouTube anymore.
Oof.
But in a way, with YouTube, that's the difference between YouTube, their algorithm, and WWE's algorithm. And that's because, YouTube's just fucking up in general and not letting people do creative freedom. If you want to give us freedom, we promise we're not going to do fucking drugs or anything like that. We're not going to suddenly do sex on YouTube because, that ain't what we do here. No.
Nope.
Just like in WWE, there's a limit to what you can do.
Yeah.
It's like with Matt Riddle's case, he wasn't given a slap on the wrist just by going into rehab. Anything that's not getting fired is not everything is a slap on the wrist.
Exactly.
What happened with the Usos and the DOI, that's a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
That was a slap on the wrist, and they should have gotten more, especially considering the fact that that wasn't the first time Jimmy Uso had a DUI.
Exactly.
I think it was his second.
Mm-hmm.
Jay's had, I don't know. Here's the guys. Jay had his legal troubles in the past, I think. I think he did,
I
yes.
believe.
And, we have Jeff Hardy's situation, too. With his drugs situation in AEW. They didn't give him a slap on the wrist. They said, get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
He's not fired, but he ain't welcome back until he completes rehab.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, for Jeff Hardy's case, that's a different scenario because he's in trouble with the actual law.
Yep.
The actual law, there is still a high chance that Jeff Hardy could be in prison for years.
Yeah, for real.
As much as we don't like it, he kind of deserves it. Especially if it's your third DUI in less than 10 years.
Surprised Jeff has not been in jail.
I mean, he's been in jail before. Just not
kept there.
Not for years.
Yeah.
He's been in local county jails, but he hasn't been in prison.
Yeah.
That's a difference. But, folks, that was also our thoughts on the Mandy Rose situation. It all comes down to the fact that we don't like what happened, but we understand why it happened. And is it fair? Fuck no, it's not fair.
Of course.
But companies sometimes, a company's got to protect its image. That's kind of how it works. You couldn't expect them to just, let it slide because then everybody's going to think, oh, I can get away with it too.
Yeah, that's not right.
You got to make sure that you're, here's the thing. You got to make sure you put your foot down. When you have a set of rules, you got to make sure that these rules are being followed.
Mm-hmm.
I said we wouldn't get into much of this. We got into it, a lot of it.
Well, there you go. Hey, it's the last podcast of the year, my guy.
Yeah, 11 weeks in a row. Oh, my God. It's absolutely insane that we've done all this.
I could go for a few more. No, I'm kidding. No. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. We need a break.
If day one was happening, we would see you guys in 2 weeks from now. Because at least we get Christmas off.
Exactly.
But, yeah, folks, we got up till the Royal Rumble now. As far as we know, there are the last 7 episodes of Losers Lounge Podcast Season 5. We may have some more announcements regarding the Losers Lounge in the future, so stay tuned for that. We're not going to tell you now because we got no confirmation on anything.
Nope.
But we could be seeing some changes.
Lots of things are coming for the Losers in 2023. Get ready.
Yep, get ready, folks, because, we got the Royal Rumble to talk about. We got the NXT Vengeance Day to talk about. We got the Elimination Chamber. We got AEW Revolution, all building up to WrestleMania with a Season 6 premiere.
Oh!
And, folks, with that concludes the last podcast of 2022. And I will say we've done a lot better job with this season than we did in previous seasons, and that's because there was a lot of times I was taken off.
Yeah.
But, hey, we did it.
We made it work.
So, Heel Balor, do us a favor and sign us off for the rest of the year.
Well, I want to say thank you to all you guys for enjoying what we do on here. It's been a crazy year. It's been a wild year. And we hope you all enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I love getting on here. Sure, Chris loves getting on here. And we do what we do. We talk what we love to talk about. And that's professional wrestling, life in general. It doesn't matter. We're here to entertain each and every one of you guys from top to bottom. Whether you agree with it, whether you disagree with it, it doesn't matter. You're here to tune in. And you're here to be entertained by us. And that's what's happening in 2023. And we'll see you all then. I'm the heelest of Balors. That's Maracle. And we'll see you on the Losers Lounge Podcast in 2023. Have a safe Christmas. All that shtick. We'll see you in 2023. Too sweet. Peace out.